Take a look at this amazing video of a supercell storm taken by a storm chaser in North Dakota. Supercell storms with multiple stacks like this can create strong winds, large hail, and tornadoes. Unreal. Here's another supercell storm nearby. Both videos were taken Friday near the cities of Mohall and Lansford following a severe thunderstorm warning in the area. Forecasters warned of wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour and golf ball sized hail.
And the OSS was looking into ways to weaponize weather.
Despite the dangers, the storm did not ultimately result in a tornado.
Dubai is making it rain in a sweltering desert by zapping clouds with electricity using drones.
Fascinating, isn't it?
So much to ask, but let's take it and then we'll do a few questions.
Before we talk about what's happening in Dubai, let's talk about cloud seeding in general, because a lot of people, I don't think, understand what cloud seeding is. And this has been going on for decades, by the way. This is not something that's brand new. But traditionally, what cloud seeding is, it involves using aircraft or drones or even some cannons to push silver iodide up high into the clouds. Why silver iodide? Because what that has the same crystallized structure as ice. So once it gets up into the clouds, it starts to accumulate ice on it and these large raindrops, which helps, especially in a cloud mass that's not really going to rain. It helps to bring rain and especially snow down.
So it works.
It does work marginally, but the problem with silver iodide through the years has been this, is that they feel it could be harmful to aquatic life. Okay. So over in Dubai, which is what you're seeing here, they took it a different step, and what they basically did, they had a fleet of drones that flew up into cloud cover, and they used electrical charges to force water droplets to combine into larger ones.
So not silver, not cloud seeding as we know.
No, they're not using the traditional silver iodide, which takes out the environmental aspect of that, okay? So they're using just electricity to create larger raindrops. Why larger raindrops? Because in Dubai, they only average about 4 inches of rain per year, as most of the rain that falls out of the clouds evaporates because it's so hot, it's so dry, and the water molecules are so tiny. So they're trying to stimulate by using electricity these droplets to be larger, hence they can make it to the ground. Now, I will tell you that the jury is still kind of out a bit on whether or not this was a fluke, whether this is something that can work long term. So they need to continue with these drones, and they're going to continue to do this. Yes, Mr. Rhodes?
So, assuming it works and it wasn't a fluke, why not use this out in the western U.S. where all these wildfires are and the drought is going on? Could this not help us
That's
here?
a fantastic question, and they've been trying. This is stuff that, first of all, it's very expensive too. You're talking about millions and millions of dollars, which is fine when you're trying to alleviate a drought.
Sure.
It cannot work with wildfires. Here's the thing. You can't just throw silver iodide or electricity into a clear sky and it rains. It doesn't work that way. You have to have the right cloud structure, the right cloud height. They have to be tall, getting up well into the freezing layers. Then you can try to stimulate that process. And they've done that out west. During the winter time, when they get days and days of cloud cover, they've done that, and they've noticed they've been able to increase the snowfall pack 5 to 15%. But the area and the weather, Russell, around wildfires is not conducive to that type of cloud cover, so you can't do it. In other words, we need to treat the drought, which will then alleviate the wildfires. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's the way it has to go. 5 to 15% increase in precipitation out west due to this. It's a start.
Okay.
And it's a good start, especially over in Dubai for those folks who are just trying to generate more rainfall. Now, on the opposite side about, we're done. We don't need more time.
Another time. We'll pick it up another time.
Deerfield, Michigan, 1942. As World War II rages across several continents, acclaimed architect and eventual designer of the St. Louis Arch, Eero Saarinen, is secretly enlisted by the United States military to work for a new clandestine organization. Its name? The OSS, Office of Strategic Services, or as it is known today, the CIA.
The fact that Eero Saarinen was in the OSS designing weapon systems during World War II, and at a time when the OSS was looking into ways to weaponize weather, makes his whole connection to the design of the St. Louis Arch extremely interesting. Now, that isn't to say I believe it can control the weather, but it does open the door to the idea that it might have been one of the things Saarinen was out to achieve.
While at the OSS, Saarinen designed buildings and weapon systems, many of which were never completed or built. Is it possible he later used these secret plans to engineer the St. Louis Arch, creating something that can actually control or perhaps harness the weather?
Controlling the weather is the ultimate superweapon. It's even more powerful than the atomic bomb. So if Eero Saarinen was involved in analyzing and studying the possibility of weather modification, and you put all those factors together, and I think you have a guy that basically conducted a big, giant weather modification experiment with the St. Louis Arch.
Weather as a weapon? There are some who think the idea is not as preposterous as it seems, especially when considering that even today, many world governments are pouring millions of dollars into research designed to manipulate weather.
I think weather modification has definitely been an ongoing endeavor of governments all over the world for decades. St. Louis Arch appears to be an experiment in weather modification. The HARP device appears to be an experiment in weather modification. Who knows what the Russians or the Chinese are doing? There's some sort of technology out there.
There's been lots of work in the field of weather control, using silver iodide inside of thunderstorms to decrease the size of hail. That goes on in many parts of the world to alleviate that problem. They're always firing rockets into the atmosphere in China to manipulate the weather. But is this a good idea?
You wonder if you could steer a tornado. What would it take? Even a nuclear weapon might just nudge it, if even that.
One challenge with that is your shock wave is going to be hard to focus, perhaps, and it might cause the damage you were hoping to avoid with the tornado. I would be looking at how much can I control or change local pressures in the atmosphere near and around the tornado.
These are forces at work that could wipe out major cities. And we're finding out every day new things that we've never seen before. So maybe the lesson learned here is we shouldn't meddle with forces that we don't really understand, because we may not like the result.
Weather. At its best, it can cleanse and renew, but at its most extreme, it can destroy everything in its path. No matter how much time and money we spend trying to control it.
By zapping clouds with electricity using drones.
And predict it, it remains as many things in our world among the unexplained.
By zapping clouds with electricity using drones.
The unexplained.
You wonder if you could steer a tornado. What would it take?
Take a look at this amazing video of a supercell storm. Unreal.